Welcome back to Truth Bombs and Tea. I'm your host, Tina Binden, and today's topic is very practical and it piggybacks onto last week's video, which was the 5 signs that you have anxiety and not just stress, because sometimes it's hard for us to tell the difference between just having a period of stress and actually having either chronic anxiety or an anxiety disorder. So today's follow up is 5 tools that are the most effective so that it can help you to minimize anxiety and to manage it really well. So I want to dive straight in and start with the biggest hitter, the one that packs the most punch, and that is cognitive behavioral therapy. Now, it sounds really you know, psychiatric or very technical. But really, CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, is just a strategy and a technique that is very effective in really reducing anxiety and its management, okay, the management of it. So, the great thing about cognitive behavioral therapy is that one, it's been researched for a long time. So, we know it works. Number two is that it's really practical. So I'm not knocking or poo-pooing, talking therapy, but I'm not a huge fan of that because studies have also shown that if you keep reliving the same thing, you're actually firing and wiring that into your brain. So because you're just regurgitating the story over and over again, it tends to become like embedded into your psyche, right? So cognitive behavioral therapy is super practical because it focuses on what's happening right now, like what cause is causing you to have catastrophic thoughts or thought spirals, what preceded that panic attack. So it's really current and it focuses on identifying the thought patterns that are creating the anxiety, not the stories around it, not the kind of trauma that you had, but focusing on what's important in the here and now and addressing those things and looking at the patterns and helping you to reframe and find tools and thought patterns that actually dismantle and disarm those thoughts and thereby is really effective at reducing your anxiety. Okay. And then, of course, management is quite simple once the actual thought loops that are creating the anxiety have been addressed. So, cognitive behavioral therapy is the most effective, and that has been proven many times over in the extensive research that has been done. The other great thing about CBT is that it has adapted to the digital age. So there's lots of apps and videos and trackers and all sorts of things that can also support CBT. Okay, so you can do it on the go and you can kind of have a pocket support whenever you need it. So, cognitive behavioral therapy, absolutely number one. The second one is mindfulness. And before you kind of roll your eyes and say, oh my God, you're going to try and tell me how to, sit cross legged on a yoga cushion and, spend an hour to 2 hours, omming and meditating. No. I mean, if that's your thing, great. I mean, I was a yoga teacher and I still practice my yoga. So for me, that sounds pretty good, but it doesn't need to be that way. So mindfulness in when you break it down is really just training your brain to watch and observe your thoughts instead of being in it, okay? Because when you're anxious or you're depressed or you're heightened emotionally, you are actually in that emotion, you're in that energy, and that's why it feels so scary and so overwhelming. But mindfulness allows you to still experience those things, but to kind of zoom out and have a separation between you and what's happening. Because when you are in a panic attack, when you are having anxiety, there is no separation. And what you're feeling is the reality. Okay. When we really know that the reality is around us, and the reality of you being in a panic attack or anxious or depressed is generally not the true reality, not the facts of what's happening. So, mindfulness helps you train your brain to look at those thoughts, not panic about them, because that just makes the whole situation worse, and to allow them to pass through. Because the reason why we have heightened anxiety or we panic or we drop into like a black depression is because we are those thoughts. We don't have a separation of those thoughts. We think those thoughts are never going to end, and those thoughts kind of sweep around like a tornado. But if you allow those thoughts to come without having a panic about it, without judging it, without having a fear of those thoughts, knowing that they, like clouds, can pass through, then that whole tension, the judgment about it, the fear about it, really drastically reduces. And a lot of research has been done on mindfulness, and it is very effective in reducing anxiety and even the severity of depression. Okay, so mindfulness can be things like having your coffee at a coffee shop and just like looking at the cup and savoring it, like allowing the steam to come up and kind of feeling the warmth of that. It can be pottering around in your garden and being absorbed in what you're doing. It can be, going to meditation classes. It can be doing your own meditation practices for sure, because like any other muscle, the training your brain is kind of like going to the gym. Okay, sitting down for 5 minutes and having a cup of coffee or staring at a candle or having looking at your fire pit in the backyard is a great start, but it's the consistency through which you do it that is going to create the most powerful effects. Okay. And also, studies have shown that if you combine the cognitive behavioral therapy with the mindfulness, then you've got like a real 1-2 knockout punch. So, those two I would highly recommend doing together. Number 3, exercise. So I think most of us know that exercise releases the good endorphins, but a lot of us don't really understand that exercise also plays a crucial role in regulating your sleep and also regulating your nervous system. Okay. And people who have anxiety and depression, their nervous system is what's called dysregulated. That means instead of like having the peaks and the troughs, that rest and digest period, they're on the peak all the time. Okay. So exercise is crucial, not just for those feel good hormones that are released in chemicals, but in order to get your sleep in a nice, regular pattern, and also for your nervous system to be able to expend the excess nervous energy, which is what happens with anxious people. They have like an overproduction of nervous energy that needs to go somewhere. And if you don't exercise, guess where it goes? To your brain, and it overstimulates it, which is why you get the looping thoughts, the overwhelming thoughts, and the catastrophizing thoughts. So, exercise is crucial. And studies have shown that you should be getting some exercise every single day. Like an hour is ideal, but I can hear some of you say, but I don't have an hour. And the good news is you don't have to have an hour. So, research has also shown that even a brisk 20-minute walk is effective. Okay. So if you can spend a bit more time at the gym doing aerobic and resistance work like weights or bands, and also some running or elliptical trainer or rebounding or whatever it is, any aerobic work, that is ideal if you can do an hour of that a day. Like your sleep, your anxiety, hugely reduced. But if you can't spend an hour, a brisk 20-minute walk or a 10-minute rebound on a trampoline or a rebounder, skipping 10 minutes, Fantastic. Okay. So there's no excuses for any of us not to do a 10-minute skip or a 20-minute walk, right? It can't be, like walking to the letterbox and back, right? That's not going to cut it. So 20 minutes of brisk activity, or, if you've got more, great. But sleep and anxiety go hand in hand. Same with depression. So if your sleep is off, if you don't have like a natural way to fall asleep because you've expended that nervous energy and you're kind of lying awake or you're scrolling on your phone, sleep then makes you anxious. Lack of sleep makes you anxious and depressed. And then when you're anxious and depressed, you can't sleep. So that vicious cycle needs to be like knocked right on the head. And that's through exercise. Okay. And plus those other two things. But exercise is crucial. Which leads me to number 4, which is sleep, of course. So number 3 was exercise, which helps your sleep. But sleep in of itself is crucial. As I just mentioned, it's a terrible toxic cycle. If you have a bad quality sleep, it's not just about the quantity of the sleep. So 8 hours is crucial, really. I mean, you can run on less, but it's kind of like, putting $10 worth of petrol in your car and like hoping to just eke out those last few miles. Okay. Possibly can be done, but you're taking a risk. So 8 hours of good quality sleep. Okay. And that can be done through giving yourself a sleep routine or a habit. Now, when we think of sleep routines, we think, when there's a baby or a toddler, we make sure they're fed, we change them, we give them a warm bath, and then put them in their jammies. We read them a story. And when the child gets into that habit, they naturally fall asleep. They have their own sleep routine. And that does not change into adulthood, right? So if you have a sleep routine, research has shown that your brain and your body are in the habit of this ritual and you will fall asleep much easier. So examples of this could be, that after dinner you have your shower, nice warm shower, get into your bedclothes, that you read, say, a chapter or two from a book. You certainly don't get your phone out and start scrolling, social media, which gets you all addicted and excited. Blue light from your phones and devices has been shown to be a sleep disruptor. Okay. Maybe you go for a little stroll after dinner and then come back and have your shower, read a book or draw or, read a nice magazine that's not, full of gossip and things that will trigger you. Whatever your sleep routine is, maybe you have a hot chocolate or something like that. But if you put a routine into place, you are more likely to fall asleep, and not just fall asleep quickly and have quality sleep. So that's super important. And number 5 is getting some social support and professional help. Okay, so if you've used these other 4 strategies and you're still anxious, it's not a flaw within you. You're not weak. Given all the things that we have to deal with, it's perfectly normal, but it doesn't have to be a permanent state, because really, and on this channel, Truth Bombs and Tea, we really want to live the rest of our life as the best of our life. And you can't do that if you're anxious, because it's negatively impacting your physical, mental, emotional, and your spiritual health. So putting your hand up and saying, you know what, I've given it a red hot go on my own, it's not working, is a brave and mature decision. Okay. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise. So a social support is being around people that inspire you, being around people that really love you and that they want to see you thrive. Those people that have your back, not the ones that are judgy, not the ones that feel that they're superior, not the frenemies, those people who are like a warm blanket around you that want to see you succeed. Hang around with those people, okay? And then reach out to people that maybe you know have had anxiety and have been helped, and go to a professional to get some help. Okay. That is tip number 5. And all of these are important, okay? But pick and choose. Choose one if you're just starting on this journey, or maybe piggyback and pair up the cognitive behavioral therapy, the CBT, with the mindfulness, because those two are super powerful. So hopefully these have helped. Everyone suffers from anxiety to a greater or lesser degree. But if you find that it is still with you, that it's a bit more severe than you would like, then please use those tips. And of course, seek some advice from your doctor and some professional support as well. So if you liked these tips, please give it a like on the video. Tap the bell notification if you would like more helpful videos on mental health and emotional health that I specialize in, emotional intelligence. But we also touch on the physical and the spiritual because, we are a holistic being and we need to take care of each of those realms of our health in order to thrive in life. And that's what we're about here on Truth Bombs and Tea. Also, share this video if you know that there's some people that you feel might benefit. I will drop a link below to the previous video about the 5 signs that you have chronic anxiety and it's not just stress. And if you're new here, welcome. Please consider becoming a subscriber. It's totally free. And until next time, guys, stay awesome and let's live the rest of our life as the best of our life. Bye for now.